that's around it. The microbes, the birds looked the menus flying around. The Coleos was having a party over here. They just left a couple of weeks ago. It's, it's the life and the circle of life that's around us here. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we do it agroforestry. That's why it's so important to us. From the food to that feeds us, the food that feeds the hyena, and the living things that surround it. So I think that's why we do what we do.
Hōkūnui's mission for the site is to restore a native and endemic habitat to that area. So, before we got to that area, it was Ohia, Kukui forests, or, like hundreds, whatever, a couple hundred years ago, and then recently in the last decade, it's been, cattle. So it's just been cattle, and before that was pineapple fields. Going back to the mission of kind of getting the forest back, we know that it's important, we know that it's important for our whole ecosystem. And we kind of fell right into that. I guess that's our area, and that's what we wanted to try and do and leave something back for our kids,
It's hard work, but it's rewarding work. You gotta love this stuff. If you don't love it, you're not gonna last over it. It's not one and agroforestry. So one of the challenges of agroforestry is it's not gonna be like a normal job that you're gonna get. It's always something different going on, and you gotta be able to be resilient. You gotta be able for kilo, because there's so much different personalities you're working with, not just people, but our plant personalities. Like a lot of them get fussy, and you gotta go check them, and shake them up, and you gotta weed them, and you gotta malama, and you gotta see what they all need.
And not even we know how to grow nothing, but now we learn this by doing things. You get better at doing things, and sometimes you ain't gonna find it in a book or whatever. You just gotta do them, and then it'll reveal itself, as time goes by. So I like that aspect of Ohana. Like we all have strengths that helps each other out. So everybody different. Administration wise, the spokesman, the one out there doing it, and I kind of just, if I see him maybe going astray a little bit, I'll try to steer him back. And then they steer me too.
I kind of wanted for this have one really Ohana kind of environment, which actually came from him. He said, "Hey, just think about grandma's backyard and that kind of mentality, and how we work at your grandma's yard on the weekends. That's the kind of vibe we trying to create over here. Where you come over here and you're comfortable." We had a 2-year grant with OA to do these 6 acres, so we did that, and then at the same time we was writing our FSP plan and our agroforestry plan on this side, and then that was to sustain our department. So our whole goal is that the kalo and the mai'a will sustain us, year 1, 2, 3, and then once these guys start to hit production peak, then that will be what overall sustains the forestry department, which is us.
Okay.
Because in reality, nobody fund the forest. It's like a write-off, and we're hoping that this can be a model for other restoration projects to have a full-on food production arm that sustains reforestation efforts. Yeah, so really good teachers throughout our lives, and really good ancestors, and we're really fortunate to be raised well, I think, Hawaiian style, because we're natural caretakers. We really got that matriarchal mentality instead of like that patriarchal mentality, where we know how to take care, and it's in our DNA. We know how to feed. We knew about biodiversity. If you look just at our native plants, like their personalities, they all know how to socialize and get along. And that's why I think we stuck with the whole agroforestry thing, is because we're natural at it. We know that takes all of us. It takes the village to raise you, yeah? So that's what happens with the plants. Why is it any different? Knowing that when we plant the core with the rest of the trees compared to a core all by itself, did way more better. Let's say in 2 months, the one that planted with the rest of the plants grew like 6 to 8 feet in 2 months, whereas the one planted alone to handle all the different elements by itself and the funguses and all the challenges and all the predators, they never grow as big as the one that had family. So you get your makua, your kupuna, the opio, the keiki. We all know how to take care of each other in a family. That's why. And the only new thing about agroforestry is that terminology. But it's what we knew well as Hawaiians, knowing that we all can take care of each other. And if you look at the plants, and you go into a real forest, one real natural native forest, like I see so much diversity, and they all helping each other. And you can see how trees grow, and they actually give each other light, and they contribute. I mean, it's all right there if you go and look and you pay attention. If the only was just pay attention to the plants, it could tell us a lot about how to live.